Life's too bloody short. These are just going to get chopped up and just put in storage. Yeah. So we're all a bit excited because it's garlic season. And I thought, I've never done this before, but using YouTube and blogs and basically the internet, can I learn to braid garlic right now today, having never done it before? Because, you know, it looks really cool. So let's have a go. I need to get it. So I've had this all hanging up in the shed here for about 2 weeks to let it dry. Now, there's no exact time. Basically, you're leaving it long enough for it to all dry out and go papery. Okay, a good way to tell is there's no green left on the stalks. And the stalks will go all kind of soft at the top as well. That was easy. As you can see, they're all pretty much holding each other up. So once I take one, it loosens it. So that's this season's garlic. It's not a bad haul, is it? So, as you can see, these have been cleaned to an extent before I hung them. And the roots have been trimmed a little bit. What I'm going to do before I start is get these properly clean, because once I braid them, I won't be able to do that. I need a bucket. Darling wife, could you pass me a bucket, please? I've kind of trapped myself.
That wasn't very clever.
Thank you. Well, I realise this is going to be messy. And you know, happy wife, happy life. So what I'm going to do is just clear up any of this dirt, but I'm not going to wash it. You don't want to get these wet again. So just rub, and anything that doesn't rub off, you can actually deal with by just peeling some of the stalks away. As you can tell, it's quite windy today. So yeah. So I'll leave past Eli cleaning up these garlic bulbs ready to go then. And I'll just give you a wee insight bit here. Garlic braiding or garlic braids are basically a way of making it easier to handle and to store your garlic when it's ready to use. It's a nice pretty braid that you could maybe even hang up in the kitchen because it's attractive. And then you simply just snip off garlic bulbs as you need them throughout the year. Now, as I said, it's kind of like a cool, pretty thing, and you'll see it in a lot of those perfect country kitchen ideas. So that's what was in my head when I thought about doing this. And I've seen it on so many Instagram accounts and YouTube and all of that kind of stuff. And it looks really cool. And I think you can tell just how excited I was when I started off doing this. So I'm just kind of rubbing away any of the dirt, but there'll always be bits that will not come off just from rubbing. Okay, you don't want to go and get that wet. You don't want to kind of try and wipe it, clean it, anything like that. What I'll do is I'll just use the now very papery bits of the stem, the leaves, and I'll peel that back and just peel away any of that dirt with it. There we go. Nice and clean. And this is joy because it's been drying. This has all gone papery, and it's really easy to just clean that off now. Now, it also lets you have a good look, and this is a good one to show you. You can see here, this side is all lovely and white as you'd expect, and this side is dark brown. So that lets me just double check there and say, is that brown because it's rotted, or is it just stained? So it feels quite solid, looks okay, so I'm going to keep that one. But if that felt damp in any way or soft, then I would say nope, not this bulb. Now I can feel this one as I'm doing it. This has got, it feels slightly damp, not quite dry. The bulb itself is fine, it's just the stalk, so I'm not going to use this in a braid, because if that's even slightly damp, putting it in a braid, there's a risk that that could then cause mould. So that one I'm just going to use in the kitchen. So I've got 3 that I'm not going to include just because they felt a little bit dubious, but that's fine. The bulbs themselves are fine, so they'll go just to get used straight away in the kitchen. The next thing you might notice is these are all kind of variant sizes, from decent to quite small. So what I'm going to do is separate them out, because it's much easier apparently to get a braid to work if you start with your biggest and you work up the sizes so your smallest are at the top. So we're just going to organise them. Do my best to get you some close-in shots if I can as well. So, decent size. Decent sized. So I'll leave me sorting out the sizing of all the bulbs there, and I'll just let you know. So there are a few accounts that I have actually used that I've gone through and watched videos on doing this, and they've all been quite similar, which is good because it means I'm on the right track here. So I've put links to all of those accounts in the description of the video if you want to check them out yourself. But basically it is Lovely Greens over in the Isle of Man. She does a fantastic video, just the simple way to braid your garlic. The same again from Garden Answers, the highlights. Again, she did that simple way to braid garlic video, and I used that one as well, and it was nice because they're quite similar. Of course, Simplify Gardening in Wales, Tony, he did a brilliant video on doing this. And lastly, not forgetting the fabulous Steve over at Green Side Up. But awesome video, and he did a fabby braid. So there's 4 videos to go and check out. Excellent. Okay. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19. Perfect. Apparently you need at least 10 to get a good braid going, so I should be okay. Right, scary bit. Here we go. Try to work on such a small space as well. So I'm going to start with 3. So I've done a little bit of a check over just for this beginning bit, and the easiest way is a bit of string and your 3 biggest. And apparently the string is because it is much easier to work if you have these first 3 anchored. So you start with 2 and you cross them over right at the top, okay, where the bulbs are. And then the 3rd one you put on top. Okay, this is actually not easy because I'm trying to film for you guys. So there we go. So we've got that 3 there, and that's what I'm going to secure with the string. So here we go. And then from here on in, it's the actual act of braiding that's going to hold things in place. So here we go. That gives me, just as if you were doing a standard braid, braiding your hair, anything like that. And what I'm checking for here is I've got the 3, but I'm going to just check which one is the bottom. So I can see from here, this left-hand side one is at the very bottom. The stalk is at the bottom. So when I add my next piece of garlic, which is the next biggest one I've got, I'm going to add it on the left-hand side, but I'm going to make that stalk come down on the centre. So just along the same centre piece as the bit that's already there in the middle. Now the reason I looked to see which one was on the very bottom is that stalk is now going to come over and it's now going into the middle. Okay, and we're going to do the same again. I'm going to take the next one. This time I'm going to put it on the right hand side, so the opposite of what I did before. And I'm going to pull that stalk so it is going to come down the centre with this other one. And then the one on the right hand side is now at the very bottom. That's going to come over those 2 centre pieces and it's going to become the new centre.
Okay, and I'm just going to keep doing this. So I've done one on the left, one on the right. This one's going in the centre. And same as before, the actual stalk is going to go down the whole centre alongside the one that's already there. Now the ones on the left are at the bottom, so you can see it's just alternating left to right as you braid them. So the ones on the left now become the ones in the middle, they cross over the top. And my next piece, we're starting back with the left again. And now the ones on the right are at the bottom. And it's gone. And you'll see it's going to get thicker and thicker as we go and we add more garlic. This one's now the centre piece. And we're now on to the smaller bulbs. Apart from the ones we're just throwing on the floor.
So I don't know how well you can see this in the video then, but this is the point where I realised it was a lot looser than I was expecting and things weren't quite going the way that in my head I thought they were going to go. But I'm now realising watching it, it looks brilliant on camera. So I'm wondering, was it okay? Because, you know, in my head it didn't look to me like it did in all those videos I had watched. It's a bit of that kind of social media versus reality thing. So this is the point where I think my will broke. Yeah, at this point I was just thinking, it's not going to work. Oh, what am I going to do? And I was getting frustrated. Poor Eli. I kind of lost track of, was it left or was it right? What one did I do last? What am I doing next?
As this gets thicker and thicker, it's getting more and more difficult to work with. I'm just trying to make sure I keep it as tight as I can. So that's why I've got my hand in place here. Let me just tell you, it is not as easy as they make it look on Instagram and YouTube.
Now obviously, when you guys are doing this at home, you don't have a camera facing you at the time. So a normal brain would have been, oh, just start again, take it apart and start again. But there is that panicky thing of, because there's a camera on you and you're like, I've got to get this down for the video. In reality, I should have just started again. And yeah, I think as well, I should have done it and stuck to just the 10 bulbs. I think I had too many going. As they got smaller, it was just getting more and more difficult. This is it. This is a moment where I had just given up. I started to undo it to try and tighten it up again and I realised it just wasn't going to happen. The thing is, looking at it now, I think I actually would have been really pleased with it. I think if I'd ended at the 10 bulbs, I would have been really chuffed. But I don't know why in my head I decided to keep going with all of them.
This is really difficult.
I'm cringing watching how frustrated she's getting.
My hands are all sliced up with the leaves. This sucks. No. I don't want nice Instagrammable stuff enough for this, basically. Life's too bloody short. These are just going to get chopped up and just put in storage. Yeah.
So yeah, the stalks got cut off. They're just getting stored in a canvas bag in the cupboard, which is perfectly fine. It's how we've always stored our garlic. Question is though, yeah, it's always fun to do the big garden fail type things, but it's a glass half full. Is it really a fail, or was it just a lesson learned? Would it be nice to have a fancy garlic braid? And if I had stopped and reassessed the situation, I would have had. But, you know, it's not a drama, is it? I just don't get those pretty Instagram photos. Let's be honest, still had a fab garlic harvest. So I'm happy. See you next time, folks.